Now, coming up next, we will be proceeding into session one on financing the energy and transition activities in Southeast Asia. Now, this session is presented by RGE. Now, this session will explore strategic opportunities to catalyze financing for renewable energy projects in Southeast Asia and beyond. And now, it is my pleasure to invite Her Excellency Amida Salsia Alice Jabana, Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, to deliver the keynote address for this session. Your Excellency, please.
DG Francesco Lacamera of IRENA, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon. It is my pleasure to join all of you at this very important high-level forum. As we gather in the heart of Southeast Asia, in Singapore here, I am reminded of the sub-region's pivotal role in the wider Asia-Pacific landscape. With its highly interconnected and digitalized economies and youthful population, Southeast Asia is poised for continued growth. These dynamics will significantly impact the energy sector as industrial development, increased digitalization, and rising household incomes drive up energy demand. Energy sits at the core of the Sustainable Development Agenda, with energy transition has emerged as its principal pathway. We are witnessing an acceleration in clean energy deployment. The cost of technologies such as solar, wind, and batteries continue to fall, and globally, 2023 was a record year for wind and solar deployment, with over $620 billion invested. And if I may refer to IRENA's recent analysis, shows a record increase in renewable energy jobs, reaching 16.2 million last year. Despite this progress, most of the demand in Southeast Asia is still being met by coal, unfortunately. So therefore, our challenge is threefold: to transform energy systems, to prioritize clean energy, to improve energy efficiency, and to expand access to modern energy for those who currently lack. At COP28, countries pledged to double improvements in energy efficiency and triple renewable energy capacity by 2030. This is achievable in large part because of the declining costs. However, to meet these ambitious goals, we must shift investments away from fossil fuel projects towards new renewable energy and energy efficiency projects, as well as enabling infrastructure, particularly grids. We have worked with our member states to develop a long-term vision for the interconnection of the region's grids through our regional roadmap on power system connectivity, with a focus on integration of renewable energy electricity to decarbonize power systems. We are currently working with partners on roadmaps to enable increased cross-border trade of renewable energy resources, including in Southeast Asia, through the ASEAN Power Grid. This raises a common challenge and the critical issue of finance. Southeast Asia has abundant potential for clean energy resources. However, the full potential for renewable energy, energy efficiency, energy storage, and smart grid has yet to be fully realized, largely due to the capital-intensive nature of these projects. Several financial barriers hinder progress, including high actual and perceived investment risk, underdeveloped financial markets, limited data availability, lack of transparency around risk premiums, and a scarcity of established projects to serve as templates Given the limited fiscal space of many countries in the region, public funds alone will not suffice. Private sector investment must be a driving force behind this effort. While falling technology costs are encouraging, private investors need stable, long-term policy frameworks and government efforts to reduce project risk. Preliminary findings from our ongoing work with Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam on energy transition financing highlight the need for policy clarity, regulatory reforms, infrastructure development, and green finance innovation. Leveraging a mix of domestic and international finance, combined with strong policy support and private sector participation, can help these countries unlock the capital needed to accelerate their energy transitions and meet both economic and climate goals. Carbon pricing and emission trading schemes, or the so-called ETS, could incentivize investment in low-carbon technologies by making fossil fuels more expensive. Indonesia has launched the first stage of its ETS last year, 2023, focusing on decommissioning coal plants, while countries such as Singapore have already introduced carbon taxes. Other Southeast Asian nations are exploring similar mechanisms. The agreement that Singapore and Bhutan signed last year on carbon credit was a groundbreaking partnership, signifies the commitment of both nations to explore the development of carbon markets as a means to mitigate the impact of carbon emissions. It also provides an encouraging option to mobilize carbon financing to scale up renewable energy for Bhutan. So to conclude, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the path ahead is clear, but the journey, of course, will be still long and will demand our collective will as well as a commitment. The energy transition before us is not just a challenge, but we can see it as one of the greatest opportunities. So therefore, let us work together in partnership that transcend borders, across country, across as well as across region, actually, or sub-region, create policies that inspire innovation as well as mobilize finance that will fuel this transformation into a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.